Welcome to Money Confidence. This is Crystal Lockley. I'm the Chief Financial Strategist here at Confidence Wealth. And every week I try to bring something to you that is of a topic that is talked about in my meetings a lot, and I would think it would give you some benefits. So today's topic is going to be about pension. What are the different options available, lump sum versus annuitization? What are all the different options under annuitization? So I'm going to take the high level approach in this particular session. I do have webinars and different YouTube videos and so forth that you can follow through that goes a little bit more in depth. But for this one, just think about a few minutes of high level. And we're going to talk a little bit first about, let's say, the monthly amount. Now, we'll talk about pros and cons on both sides, but let's just first talk about the monthly amount and all the options available. Normally, you have single life, or you have joint life, or you have period certain. These are the three most common options you see on pension annuitization. So let's talk about what does that mean, and we'll talk about the differences, and I'll give you some examples. So like we'll pretend if we're going to turn on income. So let's say we're going to turn on income of $2,000 a month, lifetime income. So lifetime income would mean that you who turned on the income will get that lifetime $2,000 a month for the rest of your life, no matter how long you live. But if you died year two, nobody else gets anything if you turned on lifetime income without survivorship. Now, what if you turn on joint income? So let's pretend you had $2,000 option and you had a $1,700 joint option. So the $1,700 joint option seems less of the $2,000, but it also means it covers you and your spouse. So that means if you're receiving $1,700 and then you die 5 years later, God forbid, your spouse gets that $1,700 for the rest of their life. So you are securing that income for both of you. So for married couple, a lot of times we definitely recommend you do that. The only reason that you may not do it is maybe you have certain life insurance and you feel like that's plenty enough to cover that loss of income if you go away and you rather take that 2,000. So, there are situations that make sense. There was a particular client that the single lifetime income versus the joint income was a significant difference. Usually it's not that much of a difference, but in that particular pension, it was a significant difference. So it was cheaper for them to carry an insurance and get that higher monthly amount because the expectation was that she was younger anyway, that she was going to outlive her husband. So it made sense to do it that way. So again, you can see that there are unique situations that it makes sense to do the single lifetime, but it depends on that particular situation. Now, what about period certain? So let's pretend in that example, again, you can get $2,000 a month or $1,700 joint for spouse, or instead of that, you choose $1,500 period certain. So period certain is usually a little bit less, and it's more for no matter what happens, that whoever the beneficiary is, even if it's not a spouse, they get that for that period of time. So let's give an example of that. So let's say you chose 1,500 20-year period certain. And we're going to go backwards. We're going to pretend you retired in year 2000. So that means if something happened to you from year 2000 to 2020, during that period of time, that 1,500 will go to whoever. So if in 2005 you had died, $1,500 a month would go to whoever you had named as your beneficiary for till 2020. Till the period certain ended, from the moment one you started till the 20-year in this case. There might be a 10-year period certain. Now, it doesn't mean that you won't get money if you live past that. So let's just say you live till 2025. Well, now you're still receiving your 1,500, but there's nobody else that's going to receive anything if you died past that 20-year period certain. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, my webinar will give you an example. We'll follow through with it. So if that's easier for you, or the little videos that I have, ask for it. If you can't find it, and I'll be happy to send that to you. So now let's discuss, what about lump sum, where somebody uses monthly versus lump sum. So sometimes people like more control. They want to have the principal and they want to give a big lump sum away in case something happens to them. Maybe you're not in the best of health. So maybe you have an option of taking $500,000 out as a lump sum or receiving $2,000 a month. So you may say, well, I want to have that accessibility for my heirs to get that $500,000. So you roll it over. Now you have to be careful how you set it up because you want to have a solid plan in place that gives you at least the same amount of income or whatever the income needs that you may have. It might be less, that's okay. But at the very least, you don't want it to be so risky that you could lose it and have it backfire on you. Why did you not choose the monthly if you didn't know how to budget? Does that make sense? So you really have to think about those things. Now, it also allows conversions. Conversions means if now you rolled it over, when you take the lump sum out, you roll it over into an IRA. So there's no tax consequence all at once. So that way, when you start taking money out of that rollover IRA, that's when you can start actually paying taxes on it, just like you would if you were getting the monthly pension. You don't have to pay the taxes all at once unless you spent it all at once, which I hope that's not what you would do. So again, if you took that money, now you may put it in whatever strategy that you decide. You may put it some of it in the market, but you got to be very careful. You don't want to have a lot of big swings and then not have the income you need. So you may put part of it in dividend generating portfolio, or you may even choose to open up your own annuity, giving you the income that you need. But if there is some money left over, whatever that amount is, will go to your heirs. So let's just say you may find, I'm going to give you a quick example. I'll just use someone that I know as an example that did this, that instead of getting $2,000 a month from their pension, they were going to only receive $1,800 a month from their own annuity. However, if they died, anything they took out gets deducted from the lump sum rollover. So let's just pretend $500,000 in this case. That difference will go to their heirs. So it's no longer just contingent amount, against the amount of years. It's more about what's left in that bucket. It also allows flexibility of conversion depending on the product you're in. So again, if you got in the market side versus, CD, annuity, bond, or whatever it may be, just making sure that if you were planning on converting, that you can. So if you're in a brokerage account, you can convert as little or as much as you want. In annuities, some annuities allow you a minimum of a conversion that you must do, and some annuities allow you to only convert all at once. So you need to really understand, if you're doing a conversion, that you're doing, if you are going into a safe product, that you understand that conversion part, is it accessible to you or not. So again, for everyone, it's really different. There are situations where someone has lots of rental properties that are going to give them the income they need. They don't really need a pension income and they just want growth. So for someone like that, they could take the rollover lump sum and just do brokerage, and they can be more aggressive because it makes sense for them. So again, everybody is different. Just making sure that your plan is solid and you have tested it, that's the most important thing. So my suggestion is, if you are thinking about that decision and you don't know, do I take a lump sum? Do I take a monthly? Do I take period certain? Do I take joint income? Which is the best way? We can definitely run the numbers for you and show what makes the most sense for you, because everyone is different. In the meantime, of course, if you have any questions, you always know where to find me. Feel free to message me here or send me an email at askcrystal@icwm.com. That's askcrystal@icwm.com. Until next time, have a good one.